tell me about yourself.
Well, hi, Kingston. I can talk quite a while about myself. I've been around a long time, but basically, I grew up in Nova Scotia, and I wanted to be a doctor, so I went to medical school and studied there. And after that, I went out as a family doctor, a GP, and general practitioner was that means. And I did that for 4 years, and then I decided I wanted to do something in the surgical area of medicine. Still love medicine, wanted to keep doing medicine, but rather than doing family medicine, I thought I'd like to be a surgeon. So I went back to school again and studied that, and then became a plastic surgeon. And after that, I started my practice, and that's what I've been doing for the last many, many years.
Impressive. Okay, I'm going to ask you a couple questions. Okay, I'm going
I hope I
to ask
can
you a
answer them.
couple.
I hope I can answer them, but
Alrighty.
shoot.
Okay, the number one. Okay, what is smoking?
Smoking is a bad habit that started a long, long time ago when tobacco was discovered in the West Indies, I believe, when the Europeans were coming over and realized it could be consumed as a cigarette, if you will, or put it in pipes. But it's harmful. The tobacco leaves have bad stuff in them, especially when they're heated up and become carbonized or superheated, and all the chemicals in them you pull into your lungs, and it is very bad for your health. You may look cool, but you're killing your body slowly by doing that. Yeah. I smoked. So I wasn't that smart, I guess, but I did smoke for a while, several years, and it's a hard habit to stop. It's somewhat addictive, and it's something you like to do, and you think that it's never going to hurt you, but it is hurting you a little bit at a time, and then later on, all of those little bits add up, and you can become sick, and you can die from diseases that smoking causes. So, best never to start. It's hard not to, because your buddies, some of them are smoking and playing around and experimenting. So you think you got to be cool and do the same thing, but not the right thing to do. Yeah, be your own man. Don't be a follower. Be your own man. Say no.
Wow, that's scary. Well, the next question.
Okay.
What is the respiratory system?
The respiratory system is how Mother Nature allows us as human beings to get oxygen into our system. We need oxygen to live. Fish need oxygen. They get the oxygen out of the water through their gills. And they have a different respiratory system than we do. So for humans, our respiratory system starts at our mouth and nose and ends up in our lungs. And the air that we breathe has a certain amount of oxygen in it. And there's other things in the air as well, nitrogen, pollutants, which are another thing, which aren't really good. So we breathe it in, and it goes past through our nose and our mouth, down our windpipe, which is called the trachea, and into our lungs, where all that air goes to little sacs and little compartments in our lungs, and those little compartments and sacs take out the oxygen, and the oxygen goes into the bloodstream, which goes going by. And now we've got the oxygen in the bloodstream, and that bloodstream goes everywhere, to our brain, to our toenails, to our earlobes, carrying the oxygen. So that's how all of our tissues, muscles, skin, brain, everything gets oxygen. It's from the blood, but the blood gets the oxygen from the lungs, and the lungs get the oxygen by breathing it in.
That's really fascinating. Also, one more thing. How can smoking affect the respiratory system?
Well, there's heat and chemicals and carbon and all kinds of bad gases that are in the tobacco when it's being burnt, and it's almost like barbecuing something too much. It turns dry, and it can get charcoal-like, and that can happen as the heat goes in to those very delicate tissues. You know, if you got a little speck of pepper or a little speck of something into your windpipe just when you're eating and you just inhale it and you just cough and cough, that's just one little thing. All that smoke is going in and it's layering through all your tissues in there and slowly damaging them. And over time, those tissues may break down. And then you can get lung cancer or diseases or just bronchitis where you cough a lot. Or it may wreck the elastic tissues that are in our lungs, not in our chest, but in our lungs. And if the elastic tissues in our lungs gets broken down by smoking, then you get other conditions like emphysema, chronic obstructive lung disease, which means just walking across the room, you're out of breath. You can play baseball and run and jump, you get good lungs. You can change that by smoking and get bad lungs. And then for the rest of your life, you're an invalid in a way. Not everyone gets that, but a lot do. And they probably wish they never, ever had a cigarette.
That's scary.
It is scary.
And one more thing.
Right.
Is it linked to a real world issue?
Oh, I think so. The smoke is, first of all, is a contaminant. It's in the air. It's probably injuring our ozone layer too a little bit, although that's more industrial pollution that's causing that. I think probably some people who work in the fields in the West Indies or wherever the tobacco, or Turkey, or wherever the tobacco is being grown, are probably almost slave laborers. They're probably badly paid, work very hard, menial work, and they're producing these vegetable products, tobacco leaves, that are then manufactured and sold to the rest of the world in the form of cigarettes or pipe tobacco, even pipe tobacco or cigars. It's all bad.
Wow, that's bad.
Yeah, but it's sneaky. It's sort of, it doesn't hurt us right away. We can smoke for 30 years. 30 years is long, you know. You think at your age, like if someone's 30 is an oldie, but you can eventually it catches up to you, and then you have a poor quality of life later on. And when you're wanting to do things and running out of gas, running out of energy, you're tired, you're coughing, or you get these diseases. None of that's good, and that's sort of where smoking leads you.
Secondhand smoke.
Okay, if I'm smoking, which I shouldn't do, I'm getting the big hit. Bad for my tongue. People who smoke tend to have bad breath. It's hurting my trachea or my windpipe. It's hurting my lungs. It's decreasing the amount of oxygen I'm getting to all my tissues. But then I breathe it out. So I'm breathing in and I'm breathing out. So there's secondhand smoke, or the smoke that's coming off the cigarette that's in the room. And people who are around babies, young people, adults, doesn't matter, old people, they're breathing it in. They're not the ones smoking. You're forcing this air to be polluted by smoking in their presence, and they just breathe it in. And they have the same bad effects of smoking when they weren't really the smoker. So secondhand smoke can cause lung cancer and all these other conditions that can happen with the actual smoker, him or herself. Yeah.
Well, that's all today, folks. And thank you.
And smoking can get into the fabric of your sofa and your clothing and what have you, and that's sort of stinky stuff. Yeah.